Welcome back, friends. As part of our AWS learning series, we are in our day 10, in which we are going to look into auto scaling feature which is available in AWS. So, first let's think about where this auto scaling feature is going to help us in our use case, right? So, as we were discussing about web application, so we were looking about a web application, right? So we were been discussing about Flipkart Big Billion Day or Amazon sale things, right? So in case there are like kind of a Big Billion Day, let's take an example of Big Billion Day. We were not sure, right? So how many requests comes into our system? So for example, in our last session, we have designed an application, web application with the two EC2 systems, right? So we basically add two EC2. So for example, this two EC2 can manage 100 users at a time. Okay, one second, at a time. So what happens like, okay, in case of Big Billion Day or any offers or any deals, right? We might be ending up in getting like 10,000 users all of a sudden. So it will be like kind of almost like 100 percentage increase, right? Double the amount, double the percent, right? So 100 percentage increase. So in those cases, how do we handle the load? Because it's kind of an immediate increase in the load, right? So how do we tackle all these issues and everything? That's where like auto scaling is going to help us with that. So let's take an ideal scenario. For example, now you can ask Kumar like, I have two EC2. Like if I know the things is going to happen, right? Because like, for example, maybe let's take an normal scenario. Okay, even we will think about the details before the cloud era, right? So before the cloud era, let's take if the same Flipkart, okay, wants to open up some event like kind of a Big Billion Day or any other sales during a festival, or it can be like Thanksgiving or Black Friday, whatever the sale we think about, right? If Flipkart wants to do all these things even before cloud era, right? So how do they handle this use case? For example, Flipkart might have like, okay, 100 GB RAM, okay, like kind of 128 core processor, okay, and some like kind of like in petabytes of PB of hard disk or storage. So what Flipkart might do? So in initial days they might have had like, okay, 100 GB RAM or 128 GB core processor or petabyte of storage. So in case of this was like well and good, it was like handling their system very well. So in case in earlier days, if they want to open up any sale, what they generally do, they will increase. So even generally we do our laptops also, right? If your laptop goes hung, what you generally do, you go to the market or you go to the service center where you will upgrade your RAM. Okay, if you want a performance, you go and upgrade your RAM. Yeah, and you also bump up your processors. Okay, if you want to storage capacity, you change your hard disk or your SSD to an higher storage level. So from what if Flipkart might have done, like 100 to 150, so 158 to 56. Okay, something, right? So some petabytes to some other storage, or maybe they might have add one more petabytes to the storage level. So what this kind of scale up, okay, what this kind of things are called as, okay, this approach is called as scale up approach. Okay, which we generally do in our normal days, where we will increase the capacity of the existing system. So we try to add RAM, we try to add CPU, or we try to add storage in order to sort out an issue. But does it actually solve the problem? No. What happens if my request even increase? They cannot do in a minute, right? They cannot do immediately, they cannot do on time. So it's all like kind of a well pre-planned activity. So you should have been planned in such a way that, okay, Okay, I am anticipating this many users. If I want to support this many users load, I want this much of RAM. Okay, this is something like a kind of a capacity, proper capacity planning has to be done. So that's what like it was been happened before even cloud era. Okay, even before clouds are coming, we were doing all these things in general practice. Okay, before even like if you want to onboard any application, we do all capacity planning, this that blah. Even now we do that. I don't deny it, but still I am saying how it was been happening in the past, right? So when we increase the capacity of an existing system, we call it a scale up. We are increasing the capacity of the existing system. So this might be asked in your interview also. If you are like kind of going for a basic AWS level of interview, they will be asking you, do you aware of like what is scale up, scale in, scale out, and everything. Okay, scale up is something you are increasing the existing system capacity. Okay, hope you guys understood. So AWS provides us with a feature called scale out and scale in. Okay, what is scale out and scale in? Okay, so rather if for example I have one system which was taking care of Flipkart load. So what AWS recommend is, okay, if you have one system which was taking the load of 100 GB RAM and everything, let's make two system. Okay, each 75 GB RAM, each 128 core processor, 1 PB storage. So two system of this capacity each. So what we are doing is, rather than increasing the existing capacity of the system, we are adding one more machine. For example, initially we had one, now we are making it two. If you want to further increase, make it as three. If you want to further increase, make it as four. So Kumar, it's all same, right? Why you want to do scale out? I might have done it to scale up. Okay, the scale up has a limitation, right? For example, every system cannot support. See, for this particular system, the maximum RAM upgrade can be of 150 GB. If you want to still upgrade RAM, you cannot. You have to purchase a new system. So that's the biggest drawback. So you know, right, how difficult. If you want to purchase a new system, then the entire configuration has to be done. We need to manage like everything. It's a very big process, even before the cloud. So that's the difference issue with scale up feature. Okay, when you use scale up approach in traditional way, so that's the difficult process. So even the same applies to your laptop. So if your laptop supports only 16 GB of RAM maximum, that's what you can upgrade. If you want to use 32 GB RAM with high display with the graphics card and everything, and your motherboard and processor does not support it, then there is no use of upgrading the system. Guys, hope you are understanding. So that's the way we use AWS approaches. So AWS recommends you to use simple system with many number of. So you mean to say that, see, when you increase the capacity, for example, purchasing a 150 GB RAM system might be cost mucher than buying a 70 GB RAM system of two. Okay, if you're buying two system of 75 GB RAM, which will be equal to buying one 150 GB RAM system. So when you buy smaller capacity system, your cost will also get reduced. Okay, that's the one more additional feature we get. Okay, indirectly. Okay, that's one more thing. So what we do in case, for example, today it's a big billion day. Whatever I am speaking in terms of cloud era, when I speak about scale out and scale in, I am speaking in terms of cloud era. Now we know how easy to spin an a simple EC2 in AWS. So if I want, I can spin as much as system I want and provide it to the user. So the same way, if I don't want, I can delete within a minute. Okay, that's what we call it a scale in. So for example, in case of a required timings, I will increase my capacity. Okay, after big billion day, do you think that okay, there will be like millions of requests flowing into Flipkart? No, there will be like normal like 10,000 or 5,000 requests. So for that, two system is enough. So I will reduce all the older unwanted capacity and I will run only with the two system. But in this case, that's not possible. Before the cloud era, that is not possible. Once you procured and purchase the hardware, it's all yours. Nobody will not go, nobody is going to take it out. Okay. So hope I understand you understood like scale up. What is a scale up traditional approach? What AWS support us like with scale out and scale in. So let's see in practical how to do all these things in AWS. Okay, before that, when we implement auto scaling, there will be a minor changes to your architecture. So let's look at our architecture. What is the actual changes which is being happening? So that we will also understand architecture side of AWS too. How we want to do the changes when you are designing any architecture. Okay, fine. So we know like we are in AWS cloud and we have a region and three availability zone. It's all like from the day one we are seeing this architecture, right? So we have a VPC. This is one we added new. We added something called auto scaling group at region level. It's not specific to availability zone. Can you guess it why? Because when I run a web application, I have my web application running in availability zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. So when I want to increase, I can increase in any zone or I want to increase in all the zones. So that's why auto scaling group is spanning across entire region and this is not specific to availability zone level. Guys, understand why we are doing this. Probably you will get more clarity why AWS is keeping like this while we do a practicals. Okay. So now we know about security group and we have a subnet and each subnet has, now if you see I am not using simple EC2. I am using instance group, means that I can have multiple instance anytime because I am using a auto scaling group. I can grow my systems, I can reduce my system. It's not fixed EC2. We call this as instances, means it's more than one EC2. Okay. Okay, the remaining themes all same. Okay, now you should have one more question here. Kumar, in my load balancer, I know like there are three EC2 which I is connecting using ALB. Now I have multiple system. I don't know like how many instances will be there in subnet 1 at certain point of time. I don't know how many instances will be in subnet 2 at certain point of time. How do my load balancer balance the load for a newly created EC2? Hope if you guys remember, that's what I mentioned. That's the difference between classic and application load balancer. So application load balancer supports auto scaling group as well. So it has a knowledge of recognizing the newly created instances in your particular subnet. Okay. So let's see into practical how these things have been done. Okay. Let's go to our EC2. Okay. Let's click on EC2. Okay. So let's go here. At the bottom you see auto scaling group. Let's create auto scaling group. Okay, create auto scaling group. So first we will give auto scaling group name, web server group or web server SG or maybe web server. Let me put as web servers group. That's fine for now. So the second question comes launch template. Now you should have a question. Why launch template? Okay, guys, again, okay, maybe I should have said this in the initial. Whenever you guys learn something in AWS or either in Azure or any cloud specific vendor, try to understand the basic concepts why we are doing this particular thing either in AWS or in any cloud vendor. The reason being is that conceptually you will do everything similar in any container orchestration tools. Let's take for example, maybe down the line I will be also explaining about Kubernetes. So when you look at Kubernetes, how Kubernetes spins up the multiple containers, how deployment groups can able to maintain the replicas. So it's all about some templating. Okay, the same concept comes everywhere. So that's where Even in AWS, if you understand this, you will understand those concepts very, very easily. So I assume you guys follow me very closely with this. Okay, I need your complete attention here. Okay, now let's go to our architecture, right? So let me quickly go. So if you guys, I mentioned, right, in case of a load, my EC2 will be adding new instances. Okay, you should have a question here. I know creating an EC2 instance in AWS is very easy, but what configuration that instance should have, how AWS knows that. For example, whenever we create an EC2, we say my EC2 should have this much, like for example, it should use Red Hat Linux soft OS, it should be of T2 micro, okay, and it should have this much of storage, it should reside in this particular subnet so that it will get this IP address, it should use this security group so that it allow public access, so that the website is accessible. So there are many things we were been discussing, and also we said like install the web server, everything, right? Even we worked on like okay how to read it from S3 also. If you want to read every EC2 which is getting created needs to read from S3, how all these things will be known to AWS while creating that particular EC2. Okay, your template answer to all those questions. So what we do is we create a template and say to AWS, okay, whenever the mentioned criteria reaches, for example, when the user count increases or when my CPU comes to certain threshold, okay, you while creating the new EC2, use this particular format what I am giving to you, so that all my EC2s of which you are creating will be of same format and same standard. So that's where this launch template comes into action. Okay, I hope I made it clear. So do we have any launch template we created? No. Let us create the launch template. So let's give like web server template. So this will be used by Saathwic. Okay, whether you want to provide any tags or do you have any existing template which needs to be used as a source, we don't want because we are doing everything brand new. Okay, so now if you see this template asks me the same set of questions while I have answered while creating the EC2. So it asks which AMI I should use. So I need to use Red Hat Linux. So a Red Hat Enterprise 9 high availability. Let's select this because that's where like it supports free tier also. 1 second. Okay, sorry. This one I need to select because this only supports free tier. Guys, be very very careful while selecting these things because if it's not supported by free tier, you will be charged. So you have to see this free tier eligible. Okay. Then it asks me what type of instance I need to create. Okay. See, either I can select here. It says don't include in launch template because like there are some other places we can even define. But now I will select this. Free T2 micro is all my instances should be. Okay. So if any new instances created, will it allow me to log in? So how do EC2 allow us to log in? Using key pair. So which key pair it has to use? I am going to select it here. So use my key pair which we created initially. So subnet I am not going to select it here because I want each system should be on a different subnet. Then only my systems will span across availability zones. So I don't want to select anything here. Okay, security group I will select. I have a web server security group created in my earlier sessions. The same I am going to use, which is going to be allow access from any IP address, and also it allows HTTP and HTTPS access. Okay, great. Storage volumes I am going to use the default one of 10 GB. Nothing much I am going to add. Okay, great. So in advanced details, if you want to specify your web server creation, I will do that also. Okay. So this will install the web server and start the web server on your servers. Okay, and also like ideally you should have your web page created also. So what I can do is, so where this file should be, okay, sorry, it should be an HTML tag, right? So what I am doing here is I am just trying to check if HTTP service is running. If it's running, I am saying go and create a index.html file in this particular path. I need to check if this syntax and everything works. That's fine. I can do the changes anytime. Just let's understand the launch template concepts. Okay. Let me create a launch template. So now launch template got created. Let me go back to my auto scaling. Let me refresh this one. I should see my launch template. Let me select that. So basically launch template manages the version. Okay, if you are doing any changes to your launch template, it will be of version 2, and that's where like you will get an option to select which version to use. Okay, in your auto scaling group. Right now I have created new one, so I have only one version. So you should remember this part also. Okay. Here it shows like whatever the default option which I have selected in my launch template. Great. You guys are seeing, right? So this is my template, this is my type, this is my AMI ID, security group, keeper name. Everything will be there. So then comes a networking part in my auto scaling group. Okay. So I have my VPC. So if you see it here, I can select multiple subnets. So that's where I did not select while creating my template, because in template I can select only one, but in auto scaling group it allows to select multiple subnets. So I have two subnets, one for zone A and one for zone B. So I selected both so that my auto scaling will happen in both the zones. Okay, and then instant type requirement, if I want to change it here also I can change. Next. Now it's asking me like whether do you have any load balancers. Okay, I don't have any load balancer. Maybe I can create one. Attach a new load balancer. So what type of load balancer I want? Application. You see, right? You don't see option of classic. Okay, that's where like major difference between classic and application load balancer comes in. So if it is an application load balancer, you can assign it to auto scaling group so that any new instance is getting added, that will be added automatically to your load balancer. So you don't want to worry about loading balancing the loads when new EC2 is created. Again, there are few concepts here. When you create a load balancer, first that newly created EC2 will get added to the target group, and after the else checks are done, it will balance the load. So I think I have explained those pretty much in my previous sessions. Okay. So and I am saying like load balancer name, let it be web group, and I will select internet facing. So VPC is this, and it's going to be in these two availability zones. Let me, for now I don't want to go with security things because I need to create certificate and other thing which I don't want to do. Let me go with HTTP. So here it says select a new or existing target group. So I don't have any target group, so I need to create one. Let me create a target group. So group name is web server group 1. So that will get automatically created. So this is like very advanced options which I don't want to even explain now. We will see it in the future sessions when it's really needed. Okay. So then health checks, how the default health checks you want to do and everything. Okay, for now I am not going to do any changes, let it be default. Okay, and I don't want to push any cloud metrics logs. I will explain you when I really cover CloudWatch and CloudTrail. Now I don't want to do anything here. Let's go to the next. So here comes another important option. So you need to specify what is your desired capacity, what is the minimum capacity, what is the maximum capacity. Okay, so let's put like desired capacity as 2. Okay, my minimum can be 1 and maximum, usually desired and minimum should be always same. Okay, let me put this also 2. Maximum I can have like 4. So for example, this what this will do is this will go of maximum 4 instances. It will not go beyond 4. For example, even though my load is like very high, okay, it can increase the systems only till 4. Okay, if in case of Flipkart and other things they will go with 100, but ideally this is the default value which generally we use for normal loads, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever you want to use. It all depends on your load expectation and your instance type which you selected. Right now we are using T2 micro, so T2 micro for our load I think 4 is more than enough. Okay, so then comes an important point, because see I am saying desired is 2, minimum is 2 and maximum is 4. When should I increase a system? That's now we are into the core part to answer, right? I said about scaling, I said about what is scaling, I said like AWS will create a new system, everything. When it has to create a new system, that's the bigger question which is unanswered till now. When AWS has to create a new system for you, so that's where scaling policies answers that question. Okay, by default it's none, but I say target tracking policy. So what does it mean? You check my target. My target is always like EC2. For this scaling policy, the target is EC2. It says target tracking policy. That's why. So it's we are saying like okay here we have multiple metric. So if CPU utilization goes beyond this, use this. Network in bytes, network out, like if network request is more, you can do this. Based on the application target count, you can do this. But for now, I am going with CPU utilization. So what I am saying is, if my CPU utilization is more than 10, okay, you create up a new instance so that you will see how this EC2 instance is scaling up also. So that's why I am giving very minimum. In real time, it won't be this much. It will be nearly like 75 to 80. Okay, we go with 75 to 80% here, but just to show you, I am using 10. Remember, guys, just to show you. Okay, don't ever give this any on your working environments. Okay, and also it has like scaling option. So I said, right, if you want to reduce the number of systems created, that can also be done. So it's asking whether you don't want to do, whether you want to do or not. Basically, if you enable this option, it don't shrink your capacity. Once it's expanded, it's expanded. But I want, in my case, I want to shrink it. So that's why I'm not doing anything with this option. Let me go to the next. Then it says, do you want to have any notification whenever a new EC2 is pinned up? In real time, generally we will get a notification where we will add notification settings using a SNS. But now I am not going to show you those concepts because we will discuss SNS in our upcoming sessions. So during that time, you will understand how these notifications are sent. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Do you need to add any tags for your identification for this auto scaling group? For now, I don't want to. Next. So let's review the details whatever we have given. We have given like okay, my servers has to span across two availability zones in US East. So load balancer you need to create, this is the name of the load balancer and everything. Health checks only 300 seconds, I have not enabled the like logging. So and also I have given like desired minimum and maximum, and also tracking policy, if the CPU reaches the 10%, it's just going to increase the system, no notifications added. Let's create the auto scaling group. Okay, let me go to this page, let me click on EC2. Let's keep watching this screen. So after this auto scaling group created, it says updating capacity. It means that once it is created, it checks the EC2 available EC2 instance. If there is no EC2 instances of the specified configuration, it tries to create. So that's why it says updating the capacity. If you see in sometimes you will see the EC2 instance are getting created. You see, right? A new EC2 instances launched in zone 1. Okay. In few minutes you will also see the other instances also getting launched. Okay, meanwhile let's go into the system, copy this IP address, new session. Okay, using my template I can able to use login and do everything here. It does not deny anything to me, right? So let me check how many other systems got created. See, the second one also started. So until it sees the desired capacity, it creates, and also it checks the CPU. Okay, if you go here top, it checks the CPU. Now the current CPU usage is 0 because like till my installations might not have happened here. Yeah, it reaches 92 now. So once it reaches 92, which is more than my threshold of 10. So what happens? It will try to scale the instances by one more until it reaches the 4. That is our threshold. You will see like 4 instances are getting created. Okay, let me refresh to see the changes. Okay, 2 has came, right? Now it will check the CPU utilization. If both has like okay more than 10%, it's going to create new instances. So you will see another few instances getting generated, like another two more. I think this should have launched in the other zone. Yeah, if you look at the zone, one is launched in A, one is launched in B, because I have given only two subnets. So if I have given one more, you will see one C also. So let's see. So it will take like warm up of 300 seconds just to ensure like if the same capacity is being used for that duration of time, then only it will launch. Probably I have missed to say that, when there will be something like warm up. But in our case, like when we install the httpd and update, for sure it will stay during that time, so you will see the scaling up also. Okay, let's wait for some more time, let's see what's happening here. Let's see, getting tail hyphen f. Okay, I think it should. Let's see, guys. Let me open the other one also. Let us go back to the instances. Okay, still it's just validating. Yep, you guys see it? So it came to 4 and also it launched 2 instances in each zone. So 1A, 1 instances and 1B, 1 instance. So this is going to be the maximum number of instances is going to create. So basically we have said like maximum I can have 4. So you will see 4 instances will be up and running every time based on your CPU workload. So and also you will see the load balancer which might have been created by this time. So let's go to the load balancer. So our load balancer is this one. Let me try to see. Okay, it says bad gateway means that okay, so my instances are not ready. Both at least even both the first 2 instances is are still running state. Once the index file got created here, we will see our load balances getting activated, and also we see the target group. This is our target group which automatically created. Yeah, it says both unhealthy and the fourth one, fifth one also is like initial state. So it may take some more time. You guys hope aware of like all these unhealthy and healthy things and everything. So once this is healthy, your load balancer will be active. I think I did a mistake in the command. So index file will not come. Probably I need to manually do that. So apologies guys. I need to check the syntax what I did wrong. Okay. For example, I'm just adding this file so that you can check the load balancer and everything is active. Because like I did some mistake, syntax error, so that's what it says, right? So when I was creating the while loop, I might have created something wrong. Okay, now it says 3 unhealthy and 1 initial. At least one should come healthy. Okay, before that, let's copy this IP, right? 70.115.115, this one. Let's copy this. Try to see if I can directly connect this system first. Okay, this is working. So once target group recognize that, it should work. Yep. See, target group is recognized and it's balancing to the default web page to the other server. In other server, when it goes, it does not even see it. Let's look at the target group now. Okay, it's all says unhealthy still. Let's see. This is my load balancer target group. At least it should say one healthy. This one is going. So it's bouncing back. Still is coming up. Let's wait till my target group and load balancer completely come. Yep. So you see one healthy and three unhealthy. So probably it should go to one healthy port now. Okay. So once you get one healthy, it routes all the traffic to the healthy part. So if you guys remember, this is what we were discussing like a couple of days back, right? A couple of days session, back session. So where if there are any unhealthy, your load balancer does not route the traffic. So let me make one more also healthy. So let me go to this particular EC2. So everywhere I am getting the same syntax error. So sudo -i. So once this comes active, your load balancer can able to share the load. So now you can able to understand, right? I did not add the service manually. Everything is getting added whenever new things are getting created. The same way, whenever like I delete, it automatically goes off. And also the one more beauty, right? One more beauty with this particular thing is, for example, if I go to resources, even though if I accidentally delete one EC2, after 300 to 400 seconds, whatever the time duration we set up in the scaling policy, it gets created automatically. Okay. Hope with this, like, okay, hope you guys understand the functionalities, right? So with auto scaling group, I have created my load balancer, I have created my target group, I have created my EC2. I can even define like in which zones my EC2 should be there. So everything can be defined with this, so that in case of any peak load, your loads are getting balanced with the help of load balancer, and also you will have enough available resources on the EC2 because you are using the threshold. Either you use CPU or number of input and output requests, or it can be like how many requests coming to your load balancer. Based on load balancer input also you can scale your systems. So I think we have covered everything which we thought of. Like we have created multiple instances, so that's the reason I have put this particular icon. This v icon we call it as instances icon. And also like I explained you like how to create these particular availability, sorry, auto scaling group. So whenever you use multiple instances, your auto scaling group should be there. So that's why we added to these few things. And also your ALB, application load balancer, is able to balance all the loads. So just keep in mind, guys, whenever you are using auto scaling group, your classical load balancer will not support. Either it should be application or network load balancer. So both almost same. Application load balancer works on layer 7, network load balancer work on layer 4, network layer 4. That's it. Apart from that, the creation part, usage part, everything will be the same. Okay. Hope I have pretty much covered what I thought of doing it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Okay. If you really like this video, just give me a thumbs up, which motivates us to create more sessions. Okay. And I would like to extend my thanks to the subscribers who have really subscribed and motivating me all these days. So we have been like almost 77 subscribers so far. which I have seen till today. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching.